Hello friends, my name is Leigh and I create videos about photography as an art and as a lifestyle. Today we're talking about a camera system that I would like to make a part of my lifestyle, the Fujifilm GFX medium format line. I'll get back to that and whether or not I am actually going to make a purchase, but let's talk about my experience with the new GFX100S 2 so far. I went on a short and rainy camping trip at the Grand Canyon. Here is all of the Fujifilm gear that I brought on this outing. The body and a few of the lenses were borrowed from Fujifilm, and a couple of the lenses were borrowed from KEH. And this portion of the video is sponsored by KEH. If you have watched many of my videos, you will have probably heard about them. KEH buys and sells used camera gear. I have been working with them for years, and I was a customer before that. Their process for selling your gear is quick and easy, and when purchasing, I trust their grading process because I know that they thoroughly test the gear. I've purchased vintage bodies and lenses, modern mirrorless system lenses, and when I was going to borrow the GFX100S 2, I knew that I could trust KEH to fill out my temporary camera kit with these high-end lenses. As expected, the lenses are perfect. I have links for you to buy and to sell gear, plus I have special codes for you that get you a discount on your purchase or a bonus on your sale. Using those links is a big help to the channel, as is the continuing partnership with KEH. So thank you to those of you that use those links, and thank you to KEH for supporting us here at Leigh and Raymond Photography. Let's quickly go through a few specifications. First, medium format digital cameras today have big sensors, larger than full frame. For these Fujifilm medium format sensors, the crop factor is 0.8x. That means that when we apply the 0.8x crop factor to the focal length listed on the lens, we get to the effective field of view. In the case of, let's say, this 45mm lens, the effective field of view is 36mm. I discuss crop factors more thoroughly in my Basics of Photography course. The course is free here on YouTube, and I will link to it in the description of this video. The GFX100S 2 has a new 102 megapixel sensor, along with Fujifilm's X-Processor 5 to support that big sensor with lots of pixels. A couple of other things that were important to me were that it records 16-bit RAW files. It can capture video in 4K 30p, 422 10-bit, straight to the memory card that's in the camera. It has IBIS, very good IBIS at that. And you know what else? The camera has the natural Fujifilm color science and their wonderful film simulations. Plus, the bodies and lenses are all well weather sealed. Add to that a relatively compact body and lenses that are astonishingly lightweight, and I have fallen in love with this camera because it's so usable in a variety of situations. Big sensors or lots of megapixels don't mean anything to me if the camera isn't easy for me to carry and to use. Let's take a closer look at some of my results and I will explain some more. These elk photos were the first photos I captured when I got into the park because it had been raining so heavily that I couldn't stop at any of the overlooks. I was using the new 500mm f5.6 lens, which has only added to my obsession with super telephoto prime lenses. One thing I want to note here is how the elk are isolated within the frame. I was focused on the elk's eye, and we can see that the trees and bushes around him aren't in focus. With a full frame sensor or smaller, in this same situation, I can say from experience that those branches would be more in focus and would be detracting from the elk. In situations like this, where I don't have any choice but to have the foliage in the background, the medium format had a meaningful impact on my result. While we're here, take a look at this footage captured handheld with the 500mm lens. Between the optical stabilization in the lens and the in-body stabilization, I was able to capture footage I could not have captured on any other medium format camera that I have used so far. Okay, I know some of you are dying for some pixel peeping with 100 megapixels, so let's zoom in and in and in on this guy who was near my campsite a few hours later. The amount of detail that we can see here is absolutely unreal. I have looked at these elk images over and over again, zooming in, scrolling around. It is because of the clarity of the lens and the technology of the sensor that allow us to see this up close to an elk antler or eyeball. And while that is super cool, the practical use of it, for me at least, is the ability to crop. The 500 millimeter lens on this camera provides an effective field of view of 400 millimeters, which is often not enough for me because I capture my wildlife in the wild. So I often want 600 millimeters at least, and I still end up cropping. Let's look at this raven though. He's still pretty close, but let's zoom in here as though I just wanted a headshot of him. I can see the rain droplets on his feathers, the dirt on his beak, and it's all completely crisp. By the way, I was using animal detection autofocus here and the camera detected this bird's eye. And now to finally show you the canyon. I really didn't spend much time at the rim because it rained so much while I was there. But landscape photography is where I expected the camera to shine. And of course it did. The colors coming out of the camera are nothing less than gorgeous, and the raw files are highly flexible. I was able to pull details out of the sky, especially in the highlights, that even exceeded my expectations. When at the rim, I've had so many people come up to me with their cameras and say, "Oh yeah, it's so beautiful, but you just can't capture it with the camera, can you?" And while that is true to an extent, looking at a photo, you can't smell the clean, high desert air. You can't hear the ravens calling out. And a lot of cameras are simply unable to, at least able to easily capture the colors and the tones and how the light filters through the canyon. But this camera definitely did the job. And that's where we're going to end this video today. Raymond and I did also capture some outdoor portraits with the camera and the 110 millimeter f2 lens. I will share those in a video soon. Plus, I have this camera for another couple of weeks because I requested to extend my loan period. I am having that feeling that I've gotten when I connect with a camera. I like most cameras that I've used, but sometimes one of them speaks to me in a way that is hard to ignore. So I will be using this guy and all of these amazing lenses for at least a few more outings while I consider purchasing into another camera system. Make sure that you are subscribed to see when new videos go live. Remember that I have links in the description of this video to KEH. I will also add links to all of this gear new. Thank you to Fujifilm for the loaner. Thank you to KEH for supporting this channel. And thank you for watching.